What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. I am the Martian, joined by my co-host, as always, Ozzy, to talk about this week's UFC card, headlined by Vettori-Cannonier versus Marvin Vettori. 14 fights going on from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm joined by my co-host this week. What's up, Ozzy? How we doing this week, my man?
Very, very good. I'm gonna apologize to the listeners in advance. Got a little bit of a stuffy nose, but we march on. Last event of Gemini season coming up right here. So on what are we? Is the 18th? What's the day? 19th? What's the day that this
17th,
event? The 18th.
17th.
17th. All right. The 17th, the last one. We're gonna hopefully finish it out strong. We got a middleweight. You know how much I love middleweight. We got middleweight top billing. And a lot of fights, 14. So we're gonna get through these fights, guys. Maybe not, confident leans on all of them, but let's see if we could unearth some gold, agree on a few fights, and keep some solid picks coming out.
Yeah, I'm just realizing most of the card is lighter weight divisions. Got two middleweights, one
Mm-hmm.
205, one 170, but a lot of lighter weight classes. And only one women's fight on the card, I believe, right? Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
quick recap of last week. Canada card went well for all Canadians. I was definitely off on some reads, specifically Alichi Lang.
Oh, I
Fugit.
told you that guy was bad. Yeah,
The way he got knocked out too was funny. Fugit was no
I
good.
mean, the thing is just Richie Lang. You could just see like he's a lunkhead. Like not a guy you should ever be confident.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of morphed my analysis of Denat Batgarel into Alichi Lang and kind of thought they were the same person for a while. Maybe that's what led to
Okay,
me being wrong there.
nice.
Um, and also, I really don't regret Eric Anders, even though he lost. I think he did.
No,
He
yeah,
lost.
that was a solid fight. Belbita was a lock. We told everybody, right? We said, hey, this girl does no submissions. That takes away Belbita's main weakness, hometown fight. Diana Belbita short number, lay it with conviction, and that got home easy,
Yeah.
easy.
Lo-
Start the night off with some cash. Started ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the underdogs did
so
well
I
on
was
the
asleep.
prelims. Urkeg, Nelson, Zahabi, Jasmine.
Urkeg. I did catch up some of the Urkeg. Urkeg looked good. He did his thing there. I stayed away from that fight, but he did his thing there. He almost had that guillotine, right? He almost got
Yeah,
it.
and then
I
you
think.
were on point with main event overs. Those were the sides there. I ended up joining in.
There, you look at that, dude. I mean, you can't if these Mexicans do not want to be finished, dude. You're not finishing
I
them.
came around.
And
I
I'm gonna
came
give
around,
Hernandez.
bro. Remember on fight
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. You text me. Yeah, you text me. But what's it called? I'm gonna give credit to Mina Nunes because she, her cardio conditioning, she kept on the attack. She was trying to, beat Aldana up. But yeah, that went well.
Yeah, she did look good there, honestly. Yeah. Um, and then Charles, you
Charles,
had a sneaky feeling.
I told you, I did. I text you about it, right? I said sneaky
Sneaky
feeling,
feeling. Yeah,
ITD.
sneaky feeling.
Yeah, Charles ITD.
I
Oh
saw
man, that was an interesting
a sweet
fight.
video of like these dudes celebrating in like the favelas of Brazil. It honestly
Mm.
made it all kind of worth it.
I mean, dude, Charles is a killer, man. The guy's a finisher. So,
He is.
I mean, if you're thinking back in that fight, it kind of makes sense there. I thought maybe it'd play out a little longer, but Benio just controlling guys like that for over 5 minutes. It's tough when they're as dynamic as Charles Hogan.
But that's going to be enough about that card. We're going to move on to this week's card, 14 fights. We're going to start it off in the light heavyweight division. Modestas Bukauskas taking on Zach Pauga. Can you fix your mic real quick? Getting a little echo.
Sorry.
But light heavyweight division here, Zach Pauga is the underdog, plus 170, Bukauskas minus 200. And just doing some tape for this one this week. I feel really good right off the bat about Pauga, first dog of the night. And Bukauskas, he did come in on short notice and defeat Pedro in his last fight, but that fight, Pedro, 4 minutes in, he's dead gassed. Even the commentaries say it. They're like, is Pedro gassed right now in the first round? And he was. And Bukauskas, definitely won the second half of that fight really easily, but he never pulled away. He never started pressuring Pedro. He never started unleashing a lot of strikes. He had Pedro dead to rights, and he really only won the fight by a really thin margin. So this guy is now a minus 200 favorite against Pauga. While I think Pauga could have some success at distance here, I think he's going to be at a slight disadvantage at distance. But Pauga showed off some clinching against Jordan Wright in his last fight, pushed him against the cage, used some nice knees and elbows against the cage. And Tyson Pedro was having success with that a lot. He was just pressuring Bukauskas, getting his back to the cage and holding him there. So I think Pauga is going to come in here with a clinch heavy attack, have some success in the small cage, and pin him against the fence, maybe even win a little bit of distance. I'm just really confident that Bukauskas does not cover minus 200 here. So happy to take a bet on the dog to start things off. What are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, I like Zach Pauga as well in this fight. I mean, when I look at Modestas Bukauskas, how he operates in the light heavyweight division, unless he has like a stylistic advantage over a guy, for example, maybe a guy has bad conditioning, bad cardio, and I think that Bukauskas could chip away and, while staying mobile, use that advantage of his gas tank. Or maybe the other guy is, a bad striker, but a good grappler, and all this guy has to do is, defend the grappling, and he'll have a distinct advantage. But outside of that, there's not really a area where he dominates, fights. Especially here, you got a guy in Pauga who used to be a heavyweight, so he's used to kind of like the power that those guys have. I would say he trains at elevation. He trains with heavyweights like Curtis Blades and a bunch of different guys on the roster over there. And I think this is the first time Bukauskas has been a favorite. Is that correct? Am I correct in saying that?
He
I'm
was a
pretty.
favorite to Michaelitis back in the day.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, in that fight, I remember there was a lot of line movement as well. So whether that be a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But Michaelitis, or
He
whatever the
was
fuck.
he was favored over Khalil Roundtree too.
Well,
That's
you know
weird.
what? Yeah, but you know where I'm going with this, in the fact that it's not like this guy's ever really over. He kind of has he overperformed. I don't know. Well, in his
Never,
last fight,
never.
he did. In his last fight, he did. But point is, he's always been the underdog. Okay, and he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't control the fight. He doesn't dictate pace. He has good kicks and stuff like that. But he's had a horrible injury before in the cage. And I just like Pauga to, be grimy, make it dirty if he needs to, maybe get a takedown if he needs to. Either way, I just see this fight playing out as close. And I would definitely like to have dog money, a guy at like 40% rate. We're getting plus close like plus 150, plus whatever it is now. So it's been
70.
like that plus 170, yeah. So it's been going up. So and I liked it earlier. So I'm definitely down for to start off the night with a dog ticket.
Sounds good. We're gonna go down to the bantamweight division next. We got Ronnie Lawrence taking on Dan Arguetta. Ronnie's the favorite at minus 180, I believe. Arguetta coming back at plus 155. Is this gonna be a rebound spot for Ronnie here, Ozzy?
Personally, I just feel like this is gonna be a scrap. I mean, I don't know why people hate on Dan Argueta as much as they like. They just really don't like the guy. And when I saw him on the Ultimate Fighter, I forgot who did he lose to on the Ultimate Fighter. He lost to Brady, right? Was it Brady or
Yeah, I
someone
think
else?
so.
It was Brady. I don't know. He lost to somebody, but he looked good. It was a tough fight. Like
No, Tercios.
Tercio,
Tercios.
excuse me. Yeah, I knew it was one of the guys in the final.
But
It
it
was a
was
scrap.
1-1. And
Yeah,
then
it
it
was
went to
a
round
scrap.
three.
It was a scrap. And Daniel Argueda's always in scraps. And he's gone 5 rounds before, right? In LFA, he's gone 5 rounds. He's gone through, rounds with Damon, in the UFC. He's a tough, nut to crack. And I believe he's a 93 guy as well. So we love that. And I just think that he's probably gonna put up a pretty good fight here against Ronnie. Ronnie's very mobile. I love how he moves in the cage. Obviously we are in the Apex this week, so you do have the smaller cage here. Argueta does have the wrestling background. So I think, grappling wise, MMA wrestling, and ground game, I do like Ronnie's, game overall. But I respect Dan Argueda's as well. Yeah, he's spent time in bad positions against like Damon and stuff like that. But that's like short notice, and it's a completely different grappling style than that uh, Ronnie has. So I think this is gonna be a very competitive fight. I do think that minus 200 is a little bit wide, but I do think that this fight probably goes to a decision. So I like goes the distance or over 2.5.
Yeah, I think the line's about accurate, honestly. I think that you said the word scrap. I mean, I think it will be a competitive fight, but the fight is gonna involve a lot of grappling, and these guys, I think, could see them trading top position with one another. I think that if anyone's having striking success, I don't know, man. I guess I lean for it to be Honey Lawrence, but the guy's not really a good striker of his own right. So I think that this is just gonna be close. I think that Ronnie's top game isn't that good. He's gonna likely need a lot of takedowns here, which he can do. He can hit 5, 6, 7 takedowns if he needs to. But I just don't love that his style that much. He ran into a brick wall in the last fight with Saeed. And then just looking over Ronnie's wins, I mean, they're pretty bad, man. Mano Martinez, Vince Cachero, Jose Johnson, I guess is his best win. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a spot where Hani has to prove himself to me before I trust him again. Won't be looking to lay any juice on him. I do see this one going the distance, and it should be maybe competitive at times. I guess Hani decision is the outcome that I think is most likely.
Dan Arguetta's tough as fuck, dude. It's gonna be
He
hard
is.
to finish him.
No,
It's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
don't
hard to
think
finish him.
he's finishing. I mean, Damon Jackson couldn't even really
What is Ronnie
out
by
grapple him.
decision? What is him by decision?
Plus 130, I think.
You see, I think he was like even money or maybe minus 105 by decision over Mana Martinez. Um, so I just feel like that goes the distance number is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it should go. Next fight, only women's fight on the card. Women's flyweight, Teresa Bleda taking on Gabriela-Fernandes. Odds for this one. Bleda is the favorite, minus 220. Fernandez plus 185. So Fernandez is like a big athletic woman. Got some nice offensive striking, but her takedown defense is atrocious. She was outstriking Jasmine, looking good. One takedown, boom. Fight is completely changed. She sucks off her back. She can't get up. She can't stop takedowns. And, I'm not really interested in betting her at any price until we can see that, especially against Bleda, who is pretty reliable to go for takedowns. Rewatching her 3 or 4 most recent fights, she's shooting takedowns in all of these fights. And once she gets on top, she's looking to land ground and pound. She throws elbows on top. She isn't even a bad striker while it's on the feet. I think that she will be slightly outgunned here on the feet, but I think that she will get this fight down to the floor. And honestly, think she's got a good chance at TKOing Fernandez here because rewatching her fights, she doesn't go for submission. She just throws ground and pound. She throws elbows. She looks to get mount, and when she gets mount, she's just throwing strikes. She's not looking to sub. So KO at 7-1 on Bet Online. Maybe look for that to come out at an even better price on DK or FanDuel. And yeah, I mean, any woman who's going to attempt a takedown against Fernandez, I think, has potential to cover massive favorite prices. So, that's enough about this one. Any thoughts for you here?
No, I think Bleda. I think Bleda's gonna get a finish. Bleda. This is like the third Brazilian in a row for Bleda, or no? Am I wrong? Was her contender
Um,
series girl a Brazilian as
yeah, I
well?
think so. Wasn't her name was Maya
Yeah, so third Brazilian in a row, and I think she's gonna get back
Lima?
into the winning column here against against Fernandez or Gabrielle or
Oh no,
whatever.
it's her fourth. Edna Oliveira. It's her
Fourth,
fourth. It's
fourth. Wow,
no, no. Holy shit, bro! It's her fifth.
her fifth. You think that I didn't
No,
know this?
bro. No, hold on. I keep
No,
going further. It's six. It's
no.
six in a row, bro. It is fucking
Um,
six Brazilians in a row for
this
Bleda.
girl
That's
eats
great.
fucking. This girl eats Brazilians for fucking breakfast, dog.
That's fucking.
That's what I was gonna. That was what I was trying to get across to the listeners. And
Bro,
she's finished a bunch of them, right?
she has, and
Yeah.
they're literally every stereotypical Brazilian last name: Martins, Oliveira, Lima, Maya, Silva, Fernandez.
There we go.
Which one are we missing? I don't even know.
And
Uh,
Oliveira.
no, she has one of those.
Silva. She's got a Silva. She fought a
She's got
Silva.
a
Yeah,
Silva.
obviously. Yeah, Silva.
Um,
Oh,
yeah.
Rodrigo.
So yeah, there we
Rodriguez.
go. There we go. Um, All right, next fight, another Brazilian flyweight, but this time in the men's division. Felipe Bunes making his UFC debut, taking on Zhalgas Zhumagulov, the Kazakhstani legend of the fight game. Zhumagulov is the favorite, minus 175. Bunes plus 150. Any thoughts on Bunes here making his debut?
I'm gonna call him Boons just because I think that's like a cooler pronunciation. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure. I think the guys definitely have some skills. I think his grappling game is okay. I just don't know how much how reliable he is to be able to get Zumagulov to the ground like that multiple times over the course of a 3-round fight. So I kind of think if I liked him, I would hope that, he could get to a position that he could submit. But I also don't really know the numbers for for what like flyweight finishing by submission. I actually think I might be okay. So maybe I would look at that. But other than that, maybe dog or pass here, just because Zumagulov, he's just weird haircut, hasn't had the fights get canceled, retired, has four wives, weird guy. So I wouldn't want to lay juice on the man, loses, he's kind of like losing those split decisions. And Boons is whose guy is he? He's someone's guy, right? Who's he
Pitbull.
from? Pitbull. He's a Pitbull guy. Maybe the Pitbull brothers are looking to get a stronghold into the UFC now, so you can never, put it past the UFC sacrificing Kazakhstan's finest. So I'll go with Boons, but maybe Boons by submission.
Yeah, I don't fully know what to make of this guy. I mean, he fights like kind of a wild man, doesn't he? I mean, he's
Hmm.
kind of his fights are a very, high variance, I believe. I don't think he's got like a consistent game that he's like goes to every fight. He grapples in some, he strikes in some. He does have some pretty dynamic strikes with flying knees, spinning kicks. He does throw a lot of spinning kicks. And Zolgas, I'm just noticing like watching his fights over, his arms are so short that like it kind of makes it tough for him to like look like a favorite over a lot of guys because every time he's like landing punches to the head, he has to extend himself so far and he has to enter in the pocket and he's just open for counters because of that. So you see him punch into the body a lot to kind of avoid that just because he's so, short and stubby. And I think that Bunes being longer, having some good straight shots, I think we could see Landon on the chin of Jalgas here. I don't think that we'll see Bunes hurt Zalgas with anything. I think if anybody's hurting someone with strikes here, it will be Zalgas. Um, and then it's interesting the cardio dynamic here because Zalgas has been training for longer. Obviously, he was supposed to fight last month. Bunes is the one coming in here on short notice. But you got to think if it was a full camp, you would think that Bunes would have the cardio advantage. Zalgas does tend to kind of fade in some of his fights. Fights like his one against Molina and against Johnson. He was winning the first half of those fights and kind of let it slip through his fingers in the second half. So I don't
Who's
know,
your
man.
pick? Who's your pick? Who's your pick?
I'll go Bunes as well,
All
just
right,
because,
cool.
especially at the price. I mean, I just don't think you could be laying
Perfect.
this juice on Jalgas.
Perfect. Next fight.
We're gonna
Yeah.
stay in the flyweight division. Denise Bondar taking on Carlos Hernandez.
Main
Odds for
event. Main
odds for this
event.
one: Bondar minus 129, Hernandez plus 109. Um, watching over Bondar, man, I think this guy has big fraud potential. Just because obviously his one UFC fight, Malcolm Gordon, it looks like the much stronger fighter, which has never happened ever. And then if you just look at his record, man, I mean, all these wins are over low level fighters. You look at some guys, oh, this guy's got a good record. You click on his profile, and his wins are all over bums as well. So Bondar has been, given handpicked matchmaking and this guy just starts the fights. He just looks like he has no idea how to strike, to be honest. I think that his entire game is to throw some blitzing strikes, get inside, take you down. And I don't even think he's that good of a grappler, man. So on the feet, I think Carlos Hernandez has a big advantage over Bondar here. I don't think he'll be, rocking him with punches at any point because Hernandez is not a big hitter, but I'm very confident that Hernandez is the much cleaner striker. And we've seen Hernandez get taken down and get up from some good guys. Most notably Daniel Perez. He got taken down there, got back up to his feet, had a really close, good fight with him.
Oh,
Same story with Victor Altamirano in a close, good
oh,
fight there. And I just think that, we've seen this guy deal with better grapplers than Bondar. So I think that leads me to believe that he's going to win the fight and he shouldn't be the underdog. Although I will say I'm going to be waiting for a live bet here just because Bondar comes out the gate so quick. I think he's going to probably land a takedown or two here in the first round, but I think the success is going to be short lived. Hernandez will get back up to his feet, start winning the fight, and kind of run away with it in the second or third round. So
wow.
I like Hernandez here.
Wow, I love the dissertation here, Martian. I think honestly it's pretty on point, pretty accurate with what's likely to happen here. Carlos Hernandez, he's kind of similar to the one of the guys that you said that he fought, Victor Altamirano. These guys have shitty takedown defense. They got no glutes. no ass. They do no deadlifts, no squats, none of that shit. So they get, they're kind of weak and they fold with, like a lawn chair. But they're active, they're throwing punches at you. This guy's got a lot of experience, he's got a lot of amateur fights. But I will say, Bondar, I mean, first, let's go with Bondar. Bondar, the reason his elbow dislocated, obviously for people who are unsure, is because obviously his arm got fucked up when Malcolm Gordon was trying to armbar him, right? He kind of like armbarred one arm, and this dude put in that other arm, and then he armbarred that arm. So he fucked up his arm, and then when he fucking tried to plant his arm, his shit was fucked up and it popped. So obviously, one Bondar's tough because he's Ukrainian, right? I heard a story. So hold on, let me look this shit up. Someone told me something about his house getting bombed in Ukraine, like even before what's going on now is going on, like before that, so he's tough, dude. He's mentally strong. I think he's training in Germany now in Peter Zabata Gym. Peter Zabata Gym, I heard, is called Planet Eaters. That's a sick name. What do you think about that name for a gym, Martian?
Stupid.
Planet Eaters. That's a pretty good for merch. That would be great. Honestly, for you, bro, you're a Martian and you're downplaying. You're sleeping under the rug. You're pushing aside. You're saying that that's a bad name. That's crazy. But all right, whatever. Um, but yeah. So is
I'm wildly successful MMA podcaster, bro. What is Bondar?
that has nothing to do with Peter Sabata's gym. That's called
Oh, that's
Planet
right. That's right.
Eaters. Okay, stay on topic. All right. So with this fight, yeah, I just think that maybe or definitely Carlos Hernandez over the longevity of the fight will have the edges overall. But early on, sometimes he's kind of maybe like a little bit of a slow starter, doesn't win rounds that definitively. So I could see Bondar getting on this guy's back, but Carlos Hernandez is very fundamental, which I do like. And I do think that usually against a guy like Bondar, it is effective. So live Hernandez or pre, I don't mind that much just because I don't think Bondar could do anything to him that's gonna knock him, shake him up and where he can't like recompose himself. So he's been in a lot of close fights, and I'll give him credit, he's won a lot of them. So I
Yeah, I think I'm
probably
gonna go
go with Carlos
small
Hernandez.
Hernandez before the fight. Looks
And we get a
average.
way better price now, right? He was
Yeah, he was
this has
favored.
been going, yeah, this has been going towards Bondar significantly. So this
Right,
main
but
event is better.
next fight's a fun one too in the bantamweight division. Kyung Ho Kang taking on Christian Quinonez.
Mm.
Odds for this one have Quinonez as the favorite, minus 158 for Mexico, plus 138 for South Korea here. Got a nice international fight going on. Who
Yeah.
you got here?
This is great. I would love to see did these guys play in the World Cup? No, but I would love to see it in the following World Cup here in North America. I would definitely root for my North American brethren. But obviously, Martian, the Koreans, they've been moving up the power rankings in a lot of aspects, right? Socially, economically, all these elites. We started touching on a few of those last week. And this one though, for this fight, I don't have a clear read. Like honestly, I don't want to root for Kung Ho Kong. I don't like Kung Ho Kong. I don't like his style. I don't like anything about him really too much. Um, but and I like Christian Quinones. I think he's cool. I think he's got good striking. He's got some power. But realistically, man, he a prospect that is going to beat like such a established veteran like Kang Ho Kong, who is well rounded. But like similar to like I said about Carlos Hernandez, he's been in many close fights before, and he's won some, he's lost some, but they've all been against very high level guys in a lot of domains. So again, don't think Christian Quinones really has anything that Kang Ho Kang hasn't really seen all that much. Yes, maybe he has a little bit of that Mexican sizzle, which is just like a unique kind of thing. Like sometimes, like how Aldana kicked this stupid girl in the liver and shit. They just do weird shit. Like they find different ways to do kind of stuff. But I think most likely Christian Quinones is in a close fight here with Kang Ho Kang, and Kang Ho Kang with his superior wrestling maybe comes on top in some of these grappling scenarios, or maybe holds them against the fence, and he's probably the value side. But I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I already bet Kong here. He's much more experienced. He is a little bit old. He's like I think 35, 36. Quinones is I believe only like 26 or 27. So definitely, yeah, 27. A lot more room for like potential improvements from Quinones. But the guy's been fighting for 10 years now. I mean, I don't think we're going to see any massive levels up in competition. That fight against Long Zhao in the Contender Series, he won that one really clearly, but I don't think he proved himself to be like anything special, especially on the feet. I think that a more skilled striker could give him some problems. Long Zhao landed, I think, like 35 leg kicks in that fight.
What's the
Kang had
over here? What's the over here? What's the good GTD?
um minus or minus 175. Um,
Mm, not bad.
so So Kang has a nice jab. He's got a nice leg kick. I think he's definitely more likely to have the grappling success here. I don't think we're going to see Kang coming out shooting any takedowns. He's not a real reliable wrestler. But we also haven't seen the guy, fight a whole lot over the past several years. I think he,
This
maybe
guy
did
will be shooting takedowns.
he did his military service or some shit, so he was off for a few years. But yeah, I mean, looking back over his fights, he has hit takedowns in the majority of his fights. So hopefully he comes in, mixes in some takedowns here. I think his last win over Dana was a good performance. Thought he looked real sharp in that one. And I just think I'm going with the experience of Kang here. I think he's got a little more ways to win the fight. But Ozzy brought up some good points. Historically he fights close. He does have a lot of decisions, split decisions, but we're getting him at the plus money. I got him at almost plus 150, and I think that that's good here against Quinones.
I got over 2.5 at 180 or better. And then or you could take GTD. But this fight, unless Quinones is catching Kong Ho Kong with a guillotine or something like that, this fight is going the distance.
No, that would shock me. Only Kang's only been finished 2 times in his career over 27
This
fights.
fight, perfect. So max bet. Put me down for 4 units.
That's a good matchup. We're moving along to
Put
the
me
flyweight
down.
division next. Kind of a strange fight here. Jimmy Flick taking to Alessandro Costa. Costa is the favorite at minus 250. Flick plus 210. I think Flick sucks. I think there's no price I would be interested in betting Flick at versus anybody. The guy
Whoa.
is just kind of a glass cannon. He's looking to submit you. He doesn't really have good wrestling. His striking
Love
sucks.
that.
He's not durable. But I don't know a whole lot about Costa, honestly. I mean, I've seen some of the guys' fights, but I don't have a good read on him. I think he probably will put some hands on Flick here. It doesn't take much to knock out Flick, so I guess Costa will knock him out. But the price on that, I'm sure, is juiced to shit. It is plus 120 actually. So I don't know. I guess if there's any bet to be made, it is Costa
Costa do
KO
be
at plus.
chucking. Costa do be chucking. He be throwing hand. He throws hands. Flick. It just this is not the style of fight that I'm very interested in, especially when you're throwing in this weight class and the guy who's retired in Jimmy Flick. This should be a very clear stay away. So that's all I'm gonna give for that fight.
Do you think Costa knocks him out?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll move along to the bantamweight division next. Hayoni Barcelos taking on Miles Johns. Barcelos is the favorite here at minus 212, coming back with Johns plus 182.
Mm,
What are you thinking
mm.
here?
This is an interesting fight. Didn't see this one coming, especially after that horrible last Miles-Johns fight. The last one, or the first fight where we learned of the James Krause scandal, that we have not heard of anything since. Barely, Martian. We've heard dick nada. So I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. Anyway, so yeah, Miles Johns just never liked the guy. The guy knows how to fight. I'm gonna give him credit. He knows how to win. He knows how to throw the effective techniques. He's in shape. He's got a wrestling background. All these things. The guy's not really a fighter. He doesn't really get in there mixing up. When you saw when he was fighting John Castaneda, Castaneda had this guy, in space and started tagging him. And as soon as Maljean saw that he was kind of like not, in the rhythm, he kind of was like he folded the tent. He's like, I'm really good. I'm done here. I don't really need to fight too hard. Now Hayoni is really good. He's very talented everywhere. Throws hard shots, transitions well in between disciplines. But he just got knocked out pretty tough hard. I was feeling him earlier in the week at a little bit less of a minus, number closer to the 200. But just Maljean's another guy, dude. He's gonna if he doesn't think that he could beat Hayoni, and Hayoni ends up being a little tentative, Miles-Johns will circle around. He'll throw calf kicks. He'll fucking try to throw big overhands, look real mean, with his bald ass head. And he'll do stuff to be competitive in the freaking fight. So I'm just gonna avoid this fight as well in terms of that. But I honestly, what's the over here?
Um, do you have internet connection, or is your internet work? It's minus
What's over here?
170.
I think the over here is good.
I'll go ahead and pull up the lines for the rest of the fights here. Um, main card time, 6 fight main. Oh wait, no, I didn't even talk about this one. Oh, I think
Yeah, how about you? How about you
How
focus?
about Barcelos probably going to win this one really clearly. Um, uh, I mean, he's just a way better fighter. We saw what happened when he fought a step down in competition against Trevin Jones not that long ago, and I think Trevin Jones might honestly be better than Miles Johns.
No,
But the
no,
way that Barcelos got knocked out by Umar, bro, I mean, that was kind of a light punch. That shot definitely wouldn't have hurt me. Definitely wouldn't even knock me down. And then not only did he get knocked out with the shot on the floor, his head also like bounced off the ground like as hard as it possibly can. So I don't know. I guess there's a little bit of pause. He is deep into his career, 36 years old, coming off a knockout. So I don't think it's an easy spot to lay the juice, but I think that Barcelos skill wise has all the potential to cover this 210 price. If it got under 200, I think I would bet. So let's hope it does. First fight on the main card here, Muslim Salikhov taking on Nicholas Dalby, welterweight division. Muslim Salikhov favored minus 190, Nicholas Dalby plus 165. So um, if you're looking at damage here, right, guys, like, isn't it evidently clear who does more damage? It's Muslim Salikhov. When he throws strikes, he hurts guys. Nicholas Dalby strikes, they're honestly really soft. They're extremely soft strikes. Don't know if he's ever hurt anybody ever, honestly. Um, but it's just that I just think that that's something we should consider here right off the bat is that if Nicholas Dalby is winning this fight, considering he doesn't hurt guys, he's either going to have to wrestle or to and use his cardio to his advantage. Just outpace Salikhov down the stretch, which could happen. But if you just look at Dalby's career stats, if you look on his UFC page, I mean, the guy doesn't really land many takedowns. I mean, in his entire UFC career, well, let's say in the past, in his most recent stretch of fights, since he came back to the UFC in 2019, he's landed 2 takedowns over the course of almost an hour and a half in the cage. So he's not a reliable wrestler at all. So I don't think that you can really rely on him to hit takedowns here. And I think early on he's probably going to get hit and hurt versus Salikhov. So if you like Dalby, I would advise to wait for a live bet. I think he could come back here and hustle his way to a decision, kind of like he did against Claudio Silva, like he did against Warley Alves. He even somehow squeaked out a decision over Daniel Rodriguez in controversial fashion. So same with Oliveira. It's like all of his most recent wins are all kind of close decisions where he's just a fresher fighter down the stretch. So that could happen here, but I just envision him being a much better price live than he is pre-fight. Salikhov, both these guys are old, but Salikhov, I feel like might be a little older in terms of fight years. So I could see Dalby, pacing him down the stretch. The numbers on Dalby round 2, round 3 are huge, 2,000, 2,500. So yeah, I could see. I don't know. I would say dog or pass for this one. What do you got? What do you got here?
Another interesting fight here, old man division, old man welterweights. Another fight that I kind of like the over here that goes distance. Obviously, Dolby. I mean, the fact that Dolby's like 21, like 4-1 or some shit like that is kind of crazy when you think about it. Because this guy's not good at fighting. He's not good. Um, but he has not. If I have this correct, he he's never been finished, dude. So like, he's never been
Yeah, he
finished.
has Jesse
Salak
Ronson finished him, but
Oh,
it's
excuse me. But yeah, they canceled that one. Yeah. Actually, I was on Jesse Ronson in that fight. But yeah, that was because Jesse Ronson, he's a southpaw, and Muslim Salikhov is not a southpaw. And that was with a submission, and Muslim Salikhov doesn't know submissions.
yeah, he did drop him with the
So
punch though.
he does have a few. Yeah, I remember it was like a right hook. But yeah, but he also Muslim Salikhov's biggest flaw I feel is him like tiring himself out. from trying to finish the other guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like hitting him with big shots or his output being high in early rounds. But I actually feel Dalby, he's just in a circle around a little bit. Maybe look to grab him a little bit, look to clinch, and stymie some of that. So it is a little risky because Salikhov could definitely put this dude's fucking lights out. You know, spin kick, a punch, a kick, a knee, anything. But this is another fight that I just lean goes the distance a bit more as you know the best pick of the fight. But I do think that Muslim, like you said, you know, maybe he's able to be. I just think this is gonna be a competitive fight, so I wouldn't want to lay the juice on you know taking this guy to win when Dalby he's kind of just elusive. If he feels that Salikhov is like very sharp or has his timing or is packing a lot of punch, he's just gonna circle around and try to throw kicks to the body and shit, you know, in the legs. So he's got like a 4-inch reach advantage here as well. So I like goes distance here. Small bet, not a huge edge, but I do think this will go over.
Yeah, I agree. Should go. Kind of think it'll be like a 29-28 Salikov. He'll win the first two rounds, slow down in the third. Dalby will win the third, but it won't be enough. But it'll be
Hot
it'll be
take.
close. Um, Next fight, a fight I really like. Nicholas Motta taking on Manuel Torres. Torres is the favorite at I believe minus 180, plus 155 on Nicholas Motta here. You're trying to start this one off. What are we thinking?
Man, I think I would submit Manuel Torres. That let me just go off that first of all. But I don't think Nicholas Motta will. And Nicholas Motta, you know, he's gonna come in here. I think he's gonna have to watch his body. I think that Manuel Torres is gonna throw a lot of kicks here, you know, target the body of Nicholas Motta. But eventually, you know, it's gonna be the classic fight where, you know, these guys are throwing like left hooks at the same time as each other and you know, all these kinds of things. And when they're hitting each other, you're kind of like clenching your teeth and like, you know, getting your shoulders up because you're like, oh, fuck. Like, you know, one of these guys is about to get knocked out. And it's just, you know, it's all about finding the right shot. So it's volatile. So but I could see, well, obviously, when you think of that, you feel like it's closer to a coin flip. And then you're like, I'll take the plus money with the Brazilian guy who's super fucking tough, has knocked out a bunch of guys before, has knocked out guys in later rounds. So it makes sense to take Nicholas Motta. But Nicholas Motta has also been knocked out more than Manuel Torres. But I don't give a fuck about that, honestly. So I'll take Nicholas Motta here. I think small, you know, little bet on him here. Don't want to get too crazy with it. Because these are the kind of fights that kind of drive you crazy. Like you bet on them, you know it's probably like, yeah, man, this is great value, this or that. But then you, over the course of a week, you talk yourself into it more. And these other motherfuckers are talking about it too. And then they're like, man, yeah, Nicholas Motta, he's so good. He's in there. They're gonna be a firefight. He's been there before. Blah 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 blah. And then he loses it, and when you add it and stuff, and then you just feel terrible about it. So just normal bet. There's variance here. The guy could get put out easily by the Mexican wave of that is Loco Torres. But we'll go with Nicholas Motta here to hand him an L here. Brazilian versus Mexico, where you know Brazil traditionally have had the advantage.
Yeah, so you hit on some good points there. You missed the mark on some. But this is Nicholas Motta.
That's why you're here.
The
That's why we
Yeah,
have you here,
I'll
Martian.
polish it up for you.
Okay,
This is
cool.
Nicholas Motta.
Perfect. I love
It will be one of those situations where you get more confident in the week, you're gonna add more. But he's gonna win the fight. That's the thing that Ozzy got wrong about this one, is he's gonna win the fight, and I got a lot of thoughts about this one. First off, Nicholas
wow.
Motta, who has of these two guys, who has fought in CFFC and who has won fights in CFFC?
Whoa.
It's Nicholas Motta.
Only one guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Motta, just looking back on his career, he was on Tough back in 2015, early 2015. Then he fought in
Holy shit.
CFFC. Then he went to the Contender Series. He's been in the UFC for a few years now. I just think that, so Tough, I would call it, I wouldn't call it the highest level, but it's close. So he's been very, very serious about MMA for 8 years now. And I think we have a good idea of what kind of fighter he is.
But a beating on one of Philly's finest, underrated guy, Joe Lowry, right? That's his name.
Yeah, I didn't know he was from Philly.
You didn't know that?
No, he's
Wow.
from Jersey, I think. Close enough though.
Think shit.
Yeah, we'll claim him. But he did beat up Joe Selecki too. Is he New York or what?
He's Jersey. He
Jersey.
is Jersey.
Um,
That motherfucker's in Jersey.
so So yeah, Nicholas Motta, I just think we have a good idea of where he's at as a fighter. We've seen him win fights late. We've seen him finish fights late. We've seen him win decisions. Manuel Torres, on the other hand, I think this guy is improving. From his past few fights, I think he is getting better. He realizes what he's good at, right? He's a long offensive striker. He throws hands. He's got some quick hands. He's got power in his hands. But at a certain point, it's going to stop working because all of his wins are first round finishes. The last time he went out of round one was almost 5 years ago. And then he also got submitted instantly with a knee bar and with a heel hook in about 60 to 90 seconds, two times within the past 5 years. So I just think that the range of how good Torres could be here is huge, because if he gets out of round one and he's completely gassed out, would that surprise anybody? Because it shouldn't. The way he was fighting Frank Camacho, he was throwing everything into every punch. He was going at Frank the entire time. He was fighting like a madman. And I don't think that he's going to keep that up over 15 minutes. It's just very unlikely that someone can do that. Motta, on the other hand, he's way more conservative. He's more defensively sound. He sees the shots coming at him and encounters with it. You saw.
What's the reach here? What's the reach
Oh,
here?
I think
Is it
I think he's got a
significant?
big reach advantage. I'm pretty sure it's like 7 or 8 inches or something for Torres.
Torres.
For Torres.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's,
That's the
it's
thing
only
though. He's
three.
got the kicks.
Only three.
He's got his legs are definitely much longer though.
So three inches for him. But a read I saw rewatching Modus fight against Van Camp, and now Van Camp does suck, but
Van Camp.
he's a tall orthodox striker, and Manuel Torres is a
Um,
tall orthodox striker, and we saw Mo
Shout out to Van Camp for making it to that fight,
we
bro.
s-
Shout out
we
to him.
saw Nicholas Motta in that fight make reads really early on. He threw his left hand, and Cameron Van Camp was leaning his head straight back like that tall man's defense. So what did Motta do? He started faking the right hand, throwing the lead left hook, and it was landed on the chin of Van Camp multiple times, and eventually put him out. So I just think that's what I like about him here is that Motta. I think he's seeing stuff a lot better in the cage. He's making reads. He's defensively sound, while Torres is just throwing whatever he can at you to try to get you out of there. But we have never seen Torres when that doesn't work for him. When he can't get the guy out of there with punches early on, what happens? We have no idea. So I just think that there's a way more footage of Motta out there. He's more proven. He's fought way higher level guys throughout his career, and I just think he's actually might be even the sharper boxer between these two. So I really like Motta here. I'll be adding some more. I got one unit on him at plus 135.
Where's this guy training now? Where's he training now?
Torres.
No, Moda.
I don't know, but that's a good question. I think in America. I'm pretty sure in America.
Speaking of Torres, I was about to apply for
He
a
trains at
job in Mexico.
he trains at wherever
Teaches
Ray Cepho is a coach. Maybe
Tishi Tishi's Mexican some jujitsu.
somewhere in
That's
Vegas.
Extreme Couture.
Yeah,
Extreme Couture.
yeah,
Moda
yeah,
does? Alright, that's good. Bullish. Alright, cool.
yeah. So it's Motta here, big time.
How many fights we got left?
4. Featherweight division next, Pat Sabatini, Lucas Almeida. Odds for this one,
Let's go.
Sabatini is the favorite, minus 207. Almeida plus 177 here. I think Pat's going to wrestle this guy. Rewatching some of Almeida's fights, the guy he's lethal on the feet. He throws heat, but on the feet, he also gets really wild, man. He's putting everything into his shots, and I just think that's going to open up opportunities for takedowns. I mean, if he's throwing these big left hooks, I just think Pat's going to time that and shoot a takedown. And then what happens when Almeida's on bottom? You got to go back a few fights. This fight was in 2019, but he was fighting a guy who's not that good, Nico Cucuccio, and he got taken down several times. He got put on bottom. He got stuck on bottom. And I just think in that fight that if he was getting taken down by a regional tier journeyman, then I think that Sabatini will get him down over and over again. He will probably do bad things to him on top. And I think Almeida isn't going to settle for just laying on bottom like Tristan Connolly and Tucker Lutz did. I think he's going to try to get up. So he might try to get up. He might give up his back and get choked out. But I think that Almeida he's gonna come out hot. He's gonna get taken down, and I don't think he's gonna accept bottom. So I think there's a good chance this fight finishes, a good chance it's gonna be a Pat sub. And I think Pat honestly has the potential to cover this minus 200 price. I think that he will win and cover here. So I'm going with the grappling of Pat.
Interesting. This will be a good fight, I feel. This will be a good fight. I like both these guys. Why the hell's Almeida had all these fights canceled though? This guy's had a bunch of fights canceled. I guess okay, Tuhugov, Feely injury, and then who the and then Dewadu. Okay, so I guess it's never his fault. So just unfortunate luck for him. Yeah, I mean, I love Pat Sabatini's grappling. I mean, he's one of the honestly in the under 155 weight class, but when you mix in wrestling and the jujitsu, one of the better guys. Like for example, like I would like him over even like Bryce Mitchell. I would probably take Pat Sabatini's grappling over like a guy like Bryce Mitchell. So I definitely feel Pat has top 15 level grappling. And he should be able to use it effectively against a guy here like Almeida. Problem being, the main thing, like you said, is that Almeida doesn't really shut down offense. I've talked in the past about maybe people who are negators versus, whatever, a different style. So Lucas Almeida, he's not a negator. He's a renegade guy. He's like a rampage guy. Like he's looking to just be always on the gas pedal and hopefully catch you while you're trying to catch him. So that's not a good style against grapplers, obviously, or someone who's better than you at jiu-jitsu and has a great gas tank like Pat. So I feel Pat probably will win this. And a lot of the iterations when he does win, he looks very dominant. So if you win this bet, you will feel very intelligent. So if you want to feel like that, maybe you bet on Pat Sabatini.
All right, that's going to take us to a next fight in the premier division of the UFC, which is I do have trademark by the way. The middleweight division. Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Armen Petrosyan. Odds for this one have CLD minus 155, Armen Petrosyan plus 135. Man, hell of a fight here. Who you got here? Striker's delight.
Man, you say shit like that, not giving me credit. Like I'm not the first one who called this shit the middleweight takeover. Like I'm not the first one to call Mexico. Like I'm not the first one to call more leg locks in MMA. All these metas, all these changes. How let me not even just keep listing all my predictions and all. Um, but anyway, yeah, Chris Leroy Duncan here. We didn't really learn all that much about from his first fight. What I did learn is like in terms of like his speed and his level of comfort navigating the cage, I think that got thumbs up for me. It looked pretty good. He looked pretty slick in there. And he's to have a reach advantage here against Petrosian. I mean, this is a pretty good matchup for him. If we're being honest, I don't think people are really looking at it that way. But how I see it as when a guy's a kickboxer like Duncan and he's got a reach advantage over you, or anyone, like anytime you're kickboxing a guy that you have a reach advantage over, it's hard for that other guy to land those like little bullshit ass inside leg kicks and all these other, strikes that Petrosian throws that people love. They love the inside leg kicks. They love the fucking kicks where you're kicking a guy in his forearms and kicking him on the side of the freaking his delts and his shoulders and all this other garbage. But that shit's not gonna land when the guy's got like a 5-inch reach advantage on you, or you're gonna have to be in coming in close, and he's pretty freaking quick, with countering punches. And to top that off, the dude Leroy Duncan is a better athlete, and he's probably a better grappler too. So I kind of like him to win this fight. Honestly, I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. I mean, people are saying they really like Petrosian. I don't really see it, dude. I
You
mean,
betting
I
him?
I mean, I've never liked him. Chris Leroy, if it keeps coming down, yeah, I'll take him
What's
for
your buy
sure.
point?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I
135.
haven't been paying attention. Yeah, I thought it was got down under 150, right?
It
I
did.
saw
It
that,
did.
right?
It got to 130 at one point.
Yeah, it got to 130. I just don't think Petrosian's that good. And when you take away some of his volume via the Leroy Duncan being quick and having a reach advantage, I don't see how this is a very good matchup for him.
I think it's a unique matchup because both guys, they're kickboxers, and throughout most of their career, all their opponents have tried to grapple them, try to push them against the cage, try to take them down, very few guys. They've fought very few guys. I don't think Leroy has ever fought somebody who hasn't tried to grapple him, because he's just fought way more low level guys in the Cage Warriors, and they know that he's dangerous on the feet, and they just try to clinch right away. But that's not going to happen here. I think these guys will stand at distance and trade with one another, and I think it's going to be very telling to see how it goes, because both these guys aren't used to that, when someone's going to oblige in that distance striking and strike with them. So I'm interested to see how both guys look. I think I slightly favor Petrosyan if it stays at distance, just because I think we've seen a little bit more footage of him at distance, actually striking with guys, going toe to toe. He landed a lot of volume on RoboCop. Did really well in that fight, even though I disagree with the decision there.
Bro, he didn't land shit. He was landing inside leg kicks and kicks to his
Bro,
arms.
kicks to the arms, that scores, bro. That hurts.
No, that shit
You
does
ever got
not
kicked in the
fucking
arms, bro?
score.
But the thing,
Yeah, do you know how many points they got for that? Zero. Dick.
no, bro.
Nada. I
You
submitted
think the
them. I
judge? You think the
submitted
judge?
them.
You think?
I
Do
submitted
you think
them.
MMA
I
judges?
submitted them.
Do you think
I
MMA
submitted them.
judges know the difference between landing on the fucking arms, landing on the body? Hell no, bro. These guys are idiots.
All right,
It
bro.
doesn't.
You go with that.
Well,
You
who
go
won
with
the
the
fight,
kicks to
bro?
the
Who won the
arms,
fight?
bro.
Petrosyan did.
You go with the kicks to the arms, bro.
Well, it
Go ahead.
worked. It worked in that fight, and
All right, we'll see.
the
We'll see if
decision.
it's gonna work. We'll see if it's gonna work on Saturday. How about
It
that?
will. Well, you're not
We'll
even
see
betting.
if
You're
it's
not
gonna
even
work on
betting them, bro. You're
Saturday.
not even betting them.
Yo, did you bet?
I did.
Did you
I
bet?
bet Petrosyan, dickhead.
Right
Plus
now, right now,
125.
I will double whatever you bet on Petrosyan right now. Give me a second.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
Be right
Lay
back.
the juice. Lay the
Be
juice.
right back.
Lay that juice,
I
bro.
will. Petrosyan, bro. Petrosyan doesn't even land. Dude, look at all the body strikes or leg kicks they give him. More than half of his strikes against RoboCops were body and leg kicks. And he's going to do the same thing when he's at like a 5 or 6 inch reach advantage against a guy that's quicker than him.
Has Christian
Not gonna
Leroy
happen.
Duncan ever beat somebody as good as RoboCop?
Bro,
No. The answer is fuck no.
Petrosyan didn't beat RoboCop
That's not what the
either.
check says, bro. The check says win bonus. The record says
He kicked him in the arms.
the record says he did. The check says he did.
This guy smashed his nose. Yo, RoboCop threw less strikes to the head and way outlanded him. Like they legitimately, Martian, gave this guy credit for kicking this guy in the delts.
And he got his hand raised.
Kicking him in his gloves, dude.
And so this will be a Petrosyan decision. This will be a decision. You got to think if it goes to decision, it favors Petrosyan. I think that if anyone's knocking anybody out,
why would it favor him if it go? Why?
Because he lands more strikes. Easy explanation. It's a striking fight. Whoever lands more strikes is more likely to win.
He's gonna land more strikes?
Yeah, that is on the tape. If there's somebody
he'll land. So you're super confident.
If
you know what, max bet Grizzly Roy Duncan.
You got no bet. You got no bets on the fight, bro.
I'm gonna max bet him. I'm max betting him.
But yeah, this is
next fight.
This is the hard hitting analysis that happens when you watch tape. When you watch tape, did you watch any fights? Did you watch any fights?
That he lands more strikes.
You didn't watch any fights of these boys. None of them.
We'll see. We'll see how many strikes he lands.
Wait, without looking, name one guy Leroy Duncan fought before.
Flurry.
Nope, that's not his fucking name.
2 times.
It's Curry, dickhead.
Will Flurry.
It's Curry, dickhead. You don't even know.
Flurry.
You don't even know.
There's a bunch of them. The Jack White boy, that got out grappled 2 times.
Yeah, his name's Curry, bro.
Curry. That's what I said.
No, you said Furry. You said Flurry.
Furry.
Don't know shit. Don't know
Flurry,
shit. He fought him 2 times, and he fought him 2 times.
I said 2 times.
Yeah. But his name,
and he lost. He beat him.
Well, maybe you'll learn his name after they fight for the 3rd time.
Did he or did he not out grapple him?
Who? Flurry? No, he never fought Flurry.
All right. Okay. Nice point there. You're going back on.
We got the Armenians in the main event as well. We're gonna go back to back with the Armenians in the co-main events here. We got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Joaquim Silva. Hell of a matchup we got here. Tsarukyan minus 1,000. Joaquim Silva plus 700. I mean, Arman's gonna clown this guy. You know, if Joaquim Silva was getting knocked out by Rick Glenn, then I think that he's probably gonna fucking dust get dusted versus Tsarukyan here. I just don't see any possible way Silva wins. Silva could be a cool fighter. It's kind of stupid they're giving him this fight, but it is short notice. It's what we're dealt with.
How is Silva a cool fighter?
You ever watch his fight against Jared Gordon, bro? It's a good ass fight.
That was like 5 years ago,
Good
and he
ass
was
fight.
losing that
Good
fight.
ass fight. It was 1-1 heading into round 3. So who you got? What's the prediction here?
There's no real predictions to make in here other than probably this dude Saruki encounters this guy's kicks and lands a flush shot. But you never know. I mean, the guy can be overconfident, run into a punch. Joaquin Silva's jacked. He's Brazilian. He's Neto BJJ, so he could probably have some BJJ as well. But I'm thinking Armin here. I'm still banking on this guy to get a submission at some point in the UFC. So maybe if he stuns Joaquin Silva, he'll go for a submission. Maybe not, but I hope he does. So if he does, I've been calling his first submission for a while. He'll eventually get one. I mean, the guy's just way too jacked and good at grappling to not. So maybe this will be the one where you don't expect it when he's fighting Brazil.
Yeah, when the way he beat Ismagulov was fucking incredible, honestly. Like he made Ismagulov look bad. Which somebody else might do in the near future here. You never know. Moving on to the main event, another middleweight division fight. Not really one to get too excited about, though, unfortunately. Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier. Odds for this one, Vettori minus 128, Cannonier plus 108. Kind of two-way action coming in back and forth in these guys. Main event, who you got?
You see, this is why you're clearly not the leader of the middleweight movement, because you don't appreciate all
No, the
middleweight fights
worst
like I
the
do.
worse the fighters
Um,
are, the better the fight in middleweight. Like that, think about it. Like
sure,
like Izzy
sure,
fights, Izzy
sure,
fights aren't that great. But
sure. Well, listen, you're copying the whole flow. So whatever. You could explain to me how the middleweight, conundrum spectrum works,
I
but
got the
you
I
don't
got
know
the
shit.
trademark.
You don't know half of it, buddy. So, with this fight here, obviously Jared Cannonier, he you know what he's giving you. He's fighting from both stances now pretty often. He's chopping the legs. He's kind of, throwing with power, in some rounds, maybe throwing a little bit of more volume in other rounds. I honestly thought that he lost this Sean Strickland fight, but it was a close fight. It was a toss up. It depends what kind of strikes you value a little bit more. Vettori, I thought he lost his last fight too. I really think he lost that fight though. I don't really think it's like up for interpretation like Jared's is, but people are on the other side of the fence there. Here, I just really don't think that there's anything Marvin's gonna really do to get that much respect from Cannonier. And then I think that he's much easier, even though I heard someone say that Vittori is like the similar style of Strickland but better. I don't really understand that. I feel Vittori's just way easier to hit than Sean Strickland in terms of, Sean Strickland's got that like stupid Philly shell shit that he does. But he's kind of long a bit as well, and he kind of like bobs his head and like leans his head over his rear hip pretty well. Whereas Vittori doesn't really do any of that stuff. He's there to be body kicked. He's there to be inside leg kick, and he's a kind of like a my turn, your turn kind of guy. But he just he's just durable, so he could do shit like that. So I probably prefer Cannonier. I just think the odds are probably right. The fight could break at any moment with maybe a few strikes here and there, maybe a body kick by Vittori, maybe a head, whatever. But it probably goes the distance. It's probably Jared by decision. It'll probably be my favorite bet on the fight overall. But I probably lay off this one if I don't go with a goes distance or over.
Yeah, thinking same thoughts here. Although I do think Cannoneer money line, I think is going to be good for me. But I just think this one's really likely to go to the decision. Um, you hate to rely too much on like past fights and just like kind of copy that over into the next fight. But uh, Vittori, his punches are extremely soft. This guy does not hurt anybody. Cannonier is very durable of his own right. He's very hard to put away. And then Vittori, has been known as one of the toughest guys, the biggest blockheads in all of the UFC. even even our boy Robert Whitaker was landing flush head kicks to the side of his head, and it hurt Marvin a little bit, but it never looked like Marvin was like actually going to get knocked out. This guy's chin is just insane. It's just insane. So I mean, the Paulo Costa fight, this guy's just been in so many fights where he's getting his head rattled around, and he just keeps chugging along. So I just think both these guys can absorb their best shots. Cannonier is the one with the only slight possible finishing equity, but they have it at plus 200, guys. I mean, they think 1 out of every 3 fights, Cannonier finishes him inside the distance. When Vettori, over 25 fights, majority of them in the UFC, never been finished at all. So I don't know where they get that number at. Cannonier does have some good strikes. He hits hard of his own right. I just don't think he's ever gonna, really put Marvin away here. But I do think the Cannon will be landing the better strikes throughout the fight. It'll be close. I just think this is destined to be a split decision. Cannonier's last fight against Strickland, like Ozzy was talking about, he scored it for Strickland. That fight, the judges had it 4-1 Cannonier, 4-1 Strickland. So obviously, there's a lot of open interpretation. Marvin Vettori, everyone in the world had that fight 29-28 for Dolidze, and then one of the judges had it 30-27 Vettori. So both these guys, the judges are seeing very close fights that could be interpreted either way. So I think I'll go with the slight plus money in this one. I think that the goes the distance is probably the biggest value bet on the fight. But I also like Cannonier money line. Just think he's the better striker of the two, honestly. He's going to land better throughout the fight. So I'll be going with Cannonier. But I think it's going to be like a split decision, or it's going to be really close. So don't go crazy on Cannonier money line. I think I will end up with a bet on the goes the distance at minus 165. And that's going to do it for the podcast this week. 14 fights, a lot going on. Got Bellator, got PFL. Anything interest you in those cards, Ozzy?
Yeah, I got Sergio Pettis.
Over Patricia, huh? That's it.
Yeah, I think that's who he's fighting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Patricia moving down to 135. Don't really get that there, but yeah, that'll be interesting. CFFC, there's a jiu-jitsu card, man, a whole lot of fights going on this weekend.
How about you give the listeners a pick? How about you give them a pick?
Okay, there's a PFL fight. There's a PFL fight.
I heard.
It'll be Pinson.
Who?
Isaiah Pinson over Denzel Freeman. Pinson.
Homer pick.
That's that. We got Philadelphia's own Patrick Brady fighting. Yeah. So enjoy the fights, everyone. A lot of fights going on this weekend. Hope you all enjoy them. Win some bets. We'll see you all before the next UFC event next week. And have a good last week of Gemini season, Ozzy. Thank you all for joining us. Peace out, everyone.